Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Talos Principle 2, where last time we completed the Verdant Canyon, and we're introduced to the Grav Shifter, as well as seeing the anti-gravity flooring outside of the megastructure. Yet another new mechanic, which is so cool that they are managing to do this in every new area that we explore. But there was one little unsolved mystery from last time. I had this section of gravity flooring that was on one side of the map, and I was thinking about it at first in terms of the Pandora monument, thinking it might be involved in that. Then I started thinking about the Prometheus monument, when I really should have just been looking at the fact that this gravity flooring or gravity surface gets you up to a part of the map where you actually can get on top of this part of the canyon. And there is a Prometheus spark up here. So we are not going to use those Prometheus sparks. We are still 1K the puzzle solver, not the puzzle skipper. And I'm sticking to that. There's a matter of principle here in play. We do not skip puzzles. We solve them. But we also collect all the shiny things. Or at least we sure as hell try. So now that we have that little bit of unfinished business out of the way, let's make our way here back to our shuttle, our tram, and head on to the next area. We've already, once again, gotten a preview, I think a preview of the next mechanic, which looks to be some sort of inhibitor, lets you deactivate force fields, something along those lines. I am loving the fact that there are new mechanics in every single area. There is also that part of me that hopes at some point that we're going to see a ramp up in the overall complexity and maybe layering existing tech more and more on top of each other. Like, I think it would be really cool just to have a puzzle where you just have every single mechanic that's been shown in the game. Just every single mechanic used in one single puzzle. I hope that's a thing. And if it's not something that we get here, I hope we get it in, fingers crossed, a Talos 2 DLC. We'll see how that all plays out. For now, we're heading to the Circular Oasis, the third area here in the south, an artificial oasis in the otherwise lifeless desert that stretches across the southwestern portion of the land. Let's check it out. New puzzle time.
I remember when I was quite young, I was having trouble figuring out what I wanted to do. I wanted to see the outside world, but even back then, that wasn't really encouraged. I ran into Byron on Jameson Avenue, completely by accident, and I was too nervous to talk to him. I mean, he was one of the first companions. But he noticed me, and we started talking, and he was really encouraging. Introduced me to Garrus, and took me along on an expedition to the quarries in the mountains. Whatever flaws he may have, Byron cares about people. He changed my life.
Yep. That's Byron in a nutshell.
Byron does seem to be a very charismatic robot. We only get to see him here in the game. We only get the snippets where he is talking about these big ideas. But he does sound like somebody that would just be cool to hang out with.
So, here it looks like there should be an anti-gravity elevator, but it's locked down. I'll need you to connect to the data stream again. I'm really sorry, 1K. I know it's a risk, but I think it'll be worth it.
You don't have to apologize to us, Melville. You know we like it. You know we like jumping in to the adventure of the situation, just jumping into a data stream and seeing what happens. You know we love it. This really kind of feels a lot like one of the desert areas from the first game. It feels like we could just like run out in the direction over here and start hearing in the beginning were the words. What do we got here, though? We have an audio log, which maybe we'll just grab that right off the bat here as I try to make my way toward puzzle 1. Let's go ahead and do that.
Have you seen Miranda's design for a transport system that would connect all the labs to the machine?
It's amazing, isn't it? I think she's really excited about showing this place to people one day. She also kept asking me about what kind of monuments we could build, you know, to really transform the landscape, show the possibilities.
But her capsules only fit one person.
It's just the first iteration. Give her some time. She'll figure it out. Remember how many mistakes we made in the beginning, even with all the blueprints we had?
But that's not my point. It just worries me that she lacks context. Her imagination is incredible, but it's still limited by what she hasn't experienced.
Would it have been better if she'd been raised in New Jerusalem? If her mind was limited by self-hate and decay? If all she could imagine was sitting around ignoring the universe in favor of self-righteous solipsism?
No, but I don't know.
Sorry. You're not wrong. We can't stay hidden forever.
Part of me just wants to test the boundaries right off the bat. See how far we can go. We're apparently now 1K Desert Explorer as well. Warning, exiting designed safe zone. Okay. Very similar to in the beginning were the words. So, similar to drowning, we are not able to exit the safe zone, so to speak. I'm assuming that we would get a reset. Let's find out. I'm assuming that we're going to just get a reset like we would if we were drowning. But let's test it out here. Things are getting hazy. System integrity compromised, suspending primary functions, distress mode activated, enabling distress signal. So I guess that's the in-game lore explanation. Because in the first game, you had a very clear, easy explanation that you're in a simulation. It's only coded for you to go out so far. It's a little different when you're out in the real world. You have to kind of, I guess, build in these ideas about battery life, safe zones, that sort of stuff. Now, as to what Cornelius and Athena were discussing, a transport system that would connect all the labs to the machine. I think we had heard about that before, but it's been a while. It was at the early part of the game. They talked about some machine. Is that what's in the megastructure? But our capsules only fit one person. Is that just what we're riding with? Maybe that's all it is. The transport system that we're riding around are just these capsules that they're talking about. But they've been working on this for some time. Remember how many mistakes we made in the beginning? Even with all the blueprints we had? Blueprints? Where they get these blueprints from? It is funny that Cornelius is talking about it. It just worries me that she lacks context. Her imagination is incredible, but still limited by what she hasn't experienced. She's so young. So young and naive. But then the counterpoint to that is, would it have been better if she was raised in New Jerusalem and shaped in this inorganic way by all of the people and maybe the cultural, societal influences that came before her? Okay, let's check out Puzzle 1. Centrifuge. So I am assuming that we're going to be getting a new mechanic here. But let's see. Let's find out for sure. It looks like we have force fields that are currently deactivated. But maybe they're activated by these switches. Rotate platform counterclockwise. Oh, we're just straight up rotating a platform. We have seen this before. We've seen platforms. Maybe just one platform in particular. One puzzle that was activated by a connector or a receiver. We have an RGB converter and nothing to connect to it right now. It feels okay to just take this with us. If we're building a mental map of this, maybe we could think about it as a clock and say that this is 12 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, we have a red source. So now let's go ahead and rotate this counterclockwise. Actually, I meant to go the other way, but that's fine. Oh, I see. The force fields are not necessarily being inhibited. They're just active when you're turning it. You're not able to kind of cheese anything by going outside of the center while you're rotating it. You're sort of stuck in place. So what I wanted to do was go this way so I could go in this direction. And as I suspected, there is a blue source here, but there's also an inverter. Okay, so now we have to think eventually about getting blue and green to the end. We also have a connector. I think it makes sense to bring all the pieces to the center with us. So we have a red source at 3 o'clock, a blue source at 9 o'clock. We could... I mean, isn't it as simple as just rotating this once more clockwise? It feels like this... I'm probably missing something here, but Oh, what I'm missing is I can't directly connect blue because I don't have line of sight. I was thinking, oh, I have a connector, so I can just connect blue to this. The problem is there's no line of sight. And I don't think there's a second connector that lets us go around the corner. So what we need instead is to invert. Let's go ahead, deselect everything. Can I not? I guess my UI was selecting the inverter here on accident. Let's drop this. And I want to rotate clockwise. And now we can invert red. So now we have access to blue from this angle, which does let us do this. However, how do we get green? Because I have no access to red currently. So what I could maybe do is flip the order. I could flip the order of these, the inverter and the connector, so that this is how I get blue. And now I have access to red and blue from this angle. Is it as simple as that? I think it is. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. They give you enough pieces there to make it work. So, not really a new mechanic there other than, I guess, having a spinnable platform. Does that count as a new mechanic? Either way, first puzzle, first new puzzle of the day, complete. It looks like there's no easy exit out of here, so we kind of have to rotate out. Sometimes they give you a puzzle that just has, you know, a second exit that opens once you solve the puzzle. Not in this case. We will quickly head around, though. We saw a terminal over here at the beginning, so let's go ahead and grab that. Oh, there's a bunny rabbit here. All right. Don't exit the safe zone. You might want to turn around. I don't think you're going to find any. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Smart rabbit. No carrots in this direction.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets in my ball bearings.
I'm so glad you shared. Thanks for sharing, Yakut. The Riches from selected archive documents. R through T, I see. The author here is Rosebud Liquidator 44. Getting rich was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I see that now at the end when the insight is useless. Not being poor was great. No longer having to worry all the time. Being able to afford the best doctors. Being able to go on holidays. Being able to take care of my mother. But being rich, it just isolated me. It changed every interaction with every other person because suddenly I had the ability to change their life, to fix all their problems. And they knew it. And I knew it. A simple choice on my part could take away so much of their pain. Every interaction became infected by this inequality between us. And it made me bitter. Made me feel every relationship, even with family, was transactional. I was desperately looking for some genuinely human experience, but I seemed excluded from that now, and it made me resent everyone. What I didn't see, what I only see now as I'm dying, is that I could have used that money for good. All of it. I don't mean giving it to some NGO run by other rich people. I mean really using it. I loved movies. How many indie movies could I have financed? How many books could I have gotten published? And how much could I have just built? Not another villa for myself, but things that would benefit civilization in general. Hell, I could have just given it away, made all those lives better, taken away that pain. And if at the end of the day, I was only left with enough money to be upper middle class, so what? At least I would have been the person I wanted to be. Athena. Resource wealth as such has no value. It only matters in terms of the ability to act. But what made this ancient human so unable to act? It can't have been a personal failing, as most people of similar wealth acted the same way. Cornelius. Perhaps the answer lies in scarcity, or a system built on it, naturally optimizing towards resource accumulation. Historical circumstances, not individual sin. Miranda. But I have read about rich ancients who did act differently. They were rare, but they did exist. So it is possible for people to defy the will of history. I have wondered about that at times. I'm not rich, but if I were, what would I do with that money? Like, my instinct is I would want to find some way to help other people, but there's also so many ways in which you could do that. And I've also heard the idea that even if you took all the money from the richest person in the world and evenly distribute it between everybody else, that it would only, it would only get them by for just a short amount of time. I haven't done the math. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's thoughts like that, I think, for me at least, as an overthinker, as somebody who is, thinking in terms of min-maxing optimization, like what would be the optimal way for you to help other people in giving away your money or investing it in some charitable organization or creating your own charitable organization? How would you do that? And I could understand the feeling of being overwhelmed almost by being paralyzed by too many choices, too many potential things you could do. Ultimately, not a bad problem to have, I guess. From Trinculo to Athena. It's all a joke, isn't it? A giant prank perpetrated on all of us. The goal, the founder, the simulation. I don't even think you exist. I don't think you think that punctuation exists. I don't think biological humans ever existed either. What nonsense. I bet these messages just go to the mayor's inbox or straight to the recycling bin. You all suck, Lamau. Good to know that we, even in advanced New Jerusalem robot society, we still have trolls who don't know what punctuation is. Founding 9 from Hypatia's journals. Day 676. After the chaos of the last months, quiet has returned to the city. I suppose we're calling it a city now, although this small collection of dwellings inhabited by a mere 25 people seems to barely deserve that designation. We'll have to come up with an actual name soon. I suspect after the first 1 or 2 decades, calling it the city is going to get a little bit stale. Everyone has an opinion, of course. It's the talk of the town these days. I'm personally hoping that New Alexandria will win out in the vote next week, although I suspect Elohim's legacy carries the most weight. Byron came up with some silly suggestions like Constantinople, Very New York, and Robot Paris. I actually kind of like Robot Paris. Failed to load profile. Here we've got another mysterious, yet to appear person? Robot? Is this Eustathius potentially? And then is this a schematic? 5358. Oh boy. It's not red, so we shouldn't overload, but I'm always nervous. Okay, did we just help out Melville? Is that what we did? Melville?
Seems to be corrupted. It's almost like something tried to delete it as you were downloading it. Pandora, maybe.
Pandora's still mucking up the works, isn't she, huh? We don't know that for sure. It could just be that they are the way that this, whatever this whole system is that has been set up, Pandora, Prometheus, these might just be like Melville speculated last time, epiphenomenal. Is that what she said? Where the system is, something is happening in the system and then those things are appearing as a response, as opposed to being the actual actors. Either way, we're on to puzzle 2, the Passageway. Let's check it out. We got another spinny floor. Maybe this is the new theme here, and we're not actually dealing with the inhibited force fields yet. Whatever was being shown in the labs the last time, it looked very cool. I suppose. No, I'm not gonna overthink this. Let's just keep on with the puzzle here, and we'll worry about whatever new tech comes into play when it does. I think the first step, the only step, is to activate this force field, and that does get us access to the what are we gonna call it here? What are we going to call it? The spinny platform? We have a red source here. Let's spin this counterclockwise. Because it feels like, yeah, there was another connector here. And we need to get blue to get access to it. There is a third connector as well that is behind a red force field. Okay, so I guess what we need then is to rotate this once more counterclockwise so that we can bring in our connector and just bypass this force field altogether. So now we need to, can we just keep this in our hand and rotate? Yes, we can. And now we have the second connector. So let's just keep accruing connectors, and the way we'll do that is we'll rotate this clockwise. And now the blue source is out here. So what we probably... Actually, I was thinking we might... Eventually, it looks like we want to open this force field from this side. I don't know if we have to do that immediately to get the last connector, or what I presume to be the last connector. I think what we have to do is just rotate it this way. It's as simple as... I need to do it once more. My openings need to be like this. And now I can set this here. And this can go here. And I should have both of those in line of sight. Ooh, cool. So now we have 3 connectors. And I think we want to spin this back counterclockwise. And then we can have this one power up like this. We'll put it off of the platform. I should have just connected it up to this. Keep it fully off of there. Actually, what happens if you kind of put it on halfway in, halfway out, and then you try to turn things? So if it's just a little bit on the platform, it will stick with the platform. So you do have to be fully off of it, it looks like. Now, I presume that we wouldn't spin it. There we go. Okay. Hopefully none of y'all are getting dizzy watching this. I suppose if you were somebody who gets dizzy from this sort of thing, you probably would get dizzy from first-person content in general. I know that is a thing for different people. We have a third person as well. I'm getting distracted thinking about first person versus third person here, when in reality what we need to do is focus on how to get to the goal, which we need red to get to. So how do we do that? At this point, we don't need these connectors anymore, right? Like, I can take this away, and now that is open. I just need to get red to the end. So it's pretty simple, actually. I think. It should be pretty simple. Because all we do here is hook this up to red and hook this up here. The only thing I might have to do is reposition exactly where the... When I turn this, I should rotate it counterclockwise, and now it is in the right position. I was trying to think ahead to where it would be in the right spot and wouldn't cross paths with the blue beam. Actually, do we need that blue beam open anymore? We do, because we need to get blue to that door. Everything is as it should be as we get to the progress wheel. Okay. All right.
I spotted the lab with the drone, sending you the coordinates.
We have found our lab. Good to know. This is definitely the most normal looking tower that we've seen so far. However, as I'm looking at it here, I do see there looks like a blue receiver. Is that something that we want to connect to right now? Let's try it out. I feel like that's the first tower that we've seen that's actually had a connector or a receiver. We actually have to put this in line of sight of blue. What did that do? What, pray tell, has that done? It didn't seem to... There was no audio effect like when you win or achieve a star. So maybe that has opened up some door in the tower, and we can't actually see that door until we ascend the tower. There is a question mark over here. Is that a terminal? Way off in the desert. We're going outside of the safe zone here almost. Actually, it looks like a lost puzzle. Okay. A lost puzzle off on its own in the desert. That is very reminiscent of Talos 1. So I'm more than fine with that. We just need to find the entrance, which is here. Okay. So let's take a look at Convolution. We've got a blue emitter behind some fencing. Looks like we probably need to elevate something. Using boxes or fans or who knows what. Got a connector. Although, oh, this is... I see. So not only are we spinning platforms, but we're also just kind of raising them up using some elevator tech. Cool. So we can elevate a connector that way to get access to blue. We just need something to activate the pressure plate. We've also got a red source here behind a pressure plate. It looks like the first step is just to get access to this force field by sending it red, and that gets us a second connector. Here's our progress wheel, blocked by blue. Got some horizontal bars. And an accumulator. As well as bars here. So perhaps we want to accumulate blue and put it here. I'm not sure why. Once we get access to this accumulator, why would we want it to sit behind the bars here as opposed to right here? Not sure why those are present. Let's see if we can just get access to the accumulator, though. We need to shoot blue to deactivate that force field. But we also need to be past this force field that is activated by red. And right now we only have 2 connectors. So getting access to blue does involve elevating a connector, right? We've got to put a connector here. But then there's no line of sight from that vantage point directly to this, the blue receiver that's on the other side. So well, from this pressure plate, we actually don't even have line of sight to this. There's no line of sight from this pressure plate to that blue receiver. There is line of sight to this blue receiver. How are we doing this? How do I get myself... I need to be able to activate this force field to get through to this side, which means I need red. But then once I'm in here, I need at least one of these force fields to be active. I presume that we need access to this accumulator in order to finally get to the goal. These horizontal bars... How do I employ these? Do I need to bring... What I might need... This is a tricky one. Feels like there are a few too many moving parts in order to... Like, I'm having trouble even, like, thinking up a goal or some mini goal that I want to aim toward. I think the mini goal should be getting this accumulator out. But how do we get blue here? From this receiver, we basically just have these horizontal bars. I suppose maybe we could shoot something through here, but that feels... Why would you want to... Why would you... You wouldn't... That feels more complicated to try to shoot blue through here rather than just shooting it through this spot. It wouldn't be terribly difficult to just... Like, if we took this away and we... Maybe that's what we're trying to do here, is maybe not... This is strange. I actually don't get this. The only access that we have to blue is when we raise this elevator. And we have to stay on the pressure plate in order for that elevator to be active, correct? Like there is maybe a very short delay where the blue beam is still active as the elevator is going down, but I don't think we can take advantage of that in any way. I kind of, and once again, the only line of sight that we have for this blue connector or receiver is from here. We can't like set this. So what I could do is I could accumulate blue to this. When that force field is down, I could accumulate blue to that. Except I would need to put it like right here. I guess that's progress. We now have an accumulator that has blue. But how the heck do I get to that accumulator? Oh, that's how I get to it. I get it now. I just need to add a connection. Once it's accumulated, I want to reestablish that connection to the accumulator because now I have a new blue source and I can have this connector sit right here and power this. I see. And maybe that's where this set of horizontal bars is going to come into play. I think it is going to come into play because we actually want this to be as close as we can to be able to hit this receiver and also have line of sight to these horizontal bars, because now what we can do is we can stand on the pressure plate, we temporarily activate things with blue, but now that is a self-sustaining circuit. And I can now pick up this connector. That's very cool. I really, really like that puzzle. I guess any puzzle that I feel stumped on for a bit and then eventually get the solution, I just, that feeling of overcoming and putting together the pieces, that's why we do the puzzles. That's why we are 1K the puzzle solver. But there is something about this solution, because I'm not actually taking this accumulator out of its force field here. I don't know that I actually can. Maybe I can at this point if I wanted to, but I don't think I have to. All I have to do is keep the connections and reposition it to this side, because the important point is that I need to be able to power this force field, power down the force field, and get out of here. But I also want my blue to have line of sight down to this other end. That's the point of doing this, because now I go around here and I erase my connections and now reestablish here where I can get to the goal. Clever. Very clever. Just a slight reposition, and I was so stumped as to why these horizontal bars were here, but they had a purpose. I like that puzzle design. Very good. Looks like we've got some new interface content. Let's check it out here. Social media. What do you see? Oh, okay. Well, I guess I see a maze with a marble in it. A person trapped in a maze, desperately looking for a way out. That would be my initial guess. Someone greeting their friend, happy to be living in a beautiful place. What? Ancient human calling someone on a phone. What the hell are you all looking at? Pellegrino, nothing. A guy shooting laser beams from his eyes. It's a frog. It's an eyeball inside a giant robot. It's a Frenchman? What? I'm gonna go with what my initial reaction was and agree with Arinia. This is a maze. I appreciate your perspectives. Thank you all. I'm not sure I'm going to continue in this abstract style, as I've been drawn back to more representational art, which just feels more substantial to me, but this has been an interesting diversion. I'm always down for a good art post. I do like the more realistic ones, but the abstract is cool as well. Although some of y'all, what the hell are you looking at? I actually have not looked closer here. Oh boy. Whoa. Okay. I didn't even realize that there is, I guess, a moat. It feels like kind of a moat area around the tower, and there are puzzles down here. That's really cool. So there is kind of a lot more verticality to this than just some flat ever-expansive desert. That's pretty cool. Oh, we got another audio log here. Let's grab that while we're here.
She's remarkable, isn't she? She sees so much beauty in everything.
She is, you're right. But I'm not sure she doesn't see too much beauty.
Is it wrong to be delighted by the perfection of the universe? To look at what surrounds us and experience awe instead of just fear?
No, but to call it perfection implies a kind of moral value that it doesn't have. The universe is cold, Athena. It doesn't care about us or about life or civilization. It fundamentally cannot care. But
that's what I think.
Miranda seems to think it's almost benevolent, purposeful.
You're right. But have you considered that maybe she sees something we can't see? A step ahead? You know, Cornelius, if we succeed, the next generation will not be like us. They might see the world in ways we never could have imagined. Maybe she's the first sign of that.
I hope so. I really do, Athena. You know that I love her, and I am perpetually amazed that this being we created that came solely from our minds is so profoundly different and unique. That does strike me as a kind of miracle. But it's also a huge responsibility, and I worry about our choices.
What I hear most there is two really proud parents, which is pretty fun to think about. Robot parents.
Speak of one's principles
Happy robot family.
When the world is at peace, and there is no price to pay for thoughts that stray from what is permitted. But when times grow hard, and even ordinary men are filled with mindless anger, when the face of the enemy is suddenly known to every virtuous citizen, and to question the virtuous is to be likened to Ephialtes, when every hoary old superstition suddenly springs back to life as if it had never been defeated, and all the work of the philosophers seems to have been for naught, then one may discover what one truly believes.
Looks like we finally have our first Pandora monument that is not asking for green. I don't know if there's any special significance to that, but we are looking for red this time. Who knows where we're shooting that from? Maybe we could have shot that from the other side of the level, just like we shot the blue up to the tower. We might go check that out at some point. For now, let's try to get to puzzle 3. It looks like it's over in this direction. Dismantling. We got a box and what looks like another elevator. And that seems to be the theme. The theme on this level is, I guess it is kind of new tech. New tech is the, although we've seen the rotating that one rotating platform that had a receiver on it in one puzzle, but in general, the ability to manipulate the environment like this is not something well, no, it was in the first game, but it was really limited to like the tower. I don't remember it being in any of the overworld puzzles. It's been some time, I might be forgetting something obvious. But there are, oh wow, what is this? Okay, we have a cable going across here. It made it look like I'm getting the feeling that there are, yeah, I think this is like a platform. An anti-grav platform, or not anti-grav, but it has like what looks like some sort of a levitation aspect to it as it's going to float across here to this side. That's what it feels like we're going to do. Now, is that, I think that's the progress wheel up here. Easy for me to say. And maybe we have another platform over here. I'm not sure. Some of these might just be for decoration. I thought maybe this is going to be moving here. It's always fun digesting a new puzzle environment. Is it just the box that we're working with? I think so, because it looks like the only step that we're supposed to take. I was looking around for new equipment, or not a new equipment, but other pieces of equipment to interact with. But it looks like all we're doing here is just setting down the box and making our way to the next platform. We do have a teleporter. Cool. First piece of teleporter tech that we've seen since the, what was that? What was that area called? The first area in the south, the southern coast? So what are we doing with this? I think we're setting the teleporter on this platform and then moving it across. Now there are 2 pressure plates. There are 2 pressure plates here. One of these looks like it activates the pressure plate way over here, or the platform way over here, which makes this guy move. Moves to one side, goes back to the other side when you're off the pressure plate. Got it. So what I think we do to start is we activate this one so that takes a... Oh, wait a second, though. Oh, I was going to say, you put a force field in my way. How am I supposed to teleport to the other side? It's just a safety force field to make sure that you can't... Ah, see, you can't do that. As soon as everything is in motion, you are not allowed to get through to the other side. So how are we doing this? I think what we need to do first, before we finagle with this platform right here, we need to first bring the box up. I think that's all we're doing. Maybe we put the teleporter here. I think that's what we do. Because now we can go down and we can take the box and just teleport up to it. Now we brought the box along with us, and now that probably means that the box is going to be what activates these. Right? We maybe still keep the teleporter here because we can't really... Once the yeah, okay, what this is doing, the force field is making it so that I can't just set the box down and then quickly run and jump on the platform. It doesn't want us to do that sort of parkour. It just wants us to sequentially activate platforms and then use the teleporter tech to actually progress forward. Now we can do that. Now the force field is not in our way. Now we need to get across here. I suspect that we need the teleporter to be on this next platform, do we not? The problem is, how do I get back to that side? How do I get back over there? I might need to jump down. I think that's how I get back. I take this box with me and I jump back down and ride the elevator once more with the second box activating the elevator this time. This is a different way of thinking, and that's what they're doing in every single area. They are causing you to have to think about the puzzles in a new way. Now we take this box, I think, and activate this, and we should be in the clear. And we have our progress wheel. Cool. These puzzles are different. They feel different for some reason. They feel almost like low tech. They feel very low tech. I don't know if that's a good descriptor, but that's how they're striking me so far.
Every one of these clouds seems to contain exactly the same amount of energy.
Gotta quickly check behind puzzle 3, see if they're hiding anything out here. They are hiding something, and it looks like another lost puzzle, huh? It feels like they normally spread out the lost puzzles a little bit more. Kind of like, you know, putting one after the first 4 and putting another after the last 4, but they're putting the lost puzzles very up front and center, if you're following the prescribed direction, at least. But maybe that's... who knows? They're just mixing things up on us a little bit. Either way, let's check out transfer. Since we are here in the neighborhood. That first lost puzzle was definitely the toughest one so far. Let's see how this one stacks up. We've got a grav shifter on a gravity surface. Got a fan and another... I almost thought it was another grav shifter, but it's a connector. And we have a switch here, which does what? Moves around the gravity surface. Red source. There's a lot going on here. I love puzzles like this, where you have to spend the first few minutes just kind of dissecting the layout. We only have the one connector at the moment, but we can go through this purple barrier and get access to the second connector. Okay. And we have the red source behind here. So we should be able to fairly easily open this force field. Okay, that's straightforward enough. And that gets us back here and gives us access to the grav shifter. So eventually we want to get red all the way around to this side. And it would make sense if we were using the gravity surface to bring one of these connectors. Probably the one that's... Oh, it's so weird to kind of tilt like this. We haven't done third person showing this that much. But it is, there's a kind of a funky little animation that you get here when 1K jumps to the gravity surface. It's kind of funky. I'm gonna stick with first person. That is definitely more natural to me. I think we just want to aim. We want to take the grav shifter and... Boy, this is an awkward position here. I want to aim it at this. No, where do I want to aim this? Actually, it's fine. I do want to aim it like this. Okay. Because what I'm thinking of doing is picking this up. I want to pick this up. Well, I was thinking that I wanted to pick up this connector and get it to attach to this gravity surface. The problem with doing so is then this force field is deactivated. Well, the force field is reactivated. Either way, I can't get through back to the grav shifter. I would need... Can I bring... I think I can bring the grav shifter across, which I think solves my problem. I think what I actually want to do first is bring the gravity shifter. This is going to bring me across. I kind of want it to bring the grav shifter as well. How can I do this? So let's say we put this here. That should grab... Oh, wait. We might have a driller situation here. I'm not sure a grav shifter can... The gravity tunnel can't grab its own grav shifter, can it? Let's go test this by moving the gravity surface back. But yeah, I think it might be just like the driller. So as soon as I activate this switch, it doesn't grab the gravity shifter. So that means, I think, that we cannot take the gravity shifter from where it is. The gravity shifter is stuck here. It actually, I think, quickly shifted around. Right, because the tunnel needed to be repositioned, so it switched where it was pointing. We can only bring ourselves back over here. How do we want to do this? We need to get red to the end. We have this fan, which I don't think lets us... We're not able to do anything funky in terms of, like, jumping. Like, our ability to jump is, even if this fan was not here kind of screwing with it, we would not be able to jump out of this little sub area. So I think this connector is stuck in here. We need to get red to this connector, and then I'm thinking we want to relay it up here, because that should have... Let's double check it, but that should have line of sight of the progress wheel, correct? Yeah, because the receiver is on this side, so it can see all of the gravity flooring. Which makes me think the goal is to get that connector across. Am I being silly about this? Am I being too... I think I might... Okay, I think I was trying to do too many steps. In my mind, I don't think I said this, but in my mind, what I was picturing was beaming up the connector to this ceiling, and then repositioning it to the wall, and then taking it across. But you don't have to do that, do you? You just need to bring it up to the ceiling, and then you can make a beam that is high enough to grab the connector while it's still connected to the ceiling. Hopefully that all made sense. Let's just put it into action and find out. But ultimately I still have the same problem, don't I? Because let's say I go back. Let's say I go back here and I grav shift. I sort of still have a problem. How do I, once I do grab the connector and I attach it to the ceiling on this other side, how do I get myself and the connector over here? Because this force field is now active, right? Don't I need to gravity shift? I need to gravity shift. I need to switch the direction of the gravity shifter. I need to have it so that now, at that point, it would, well, it would actually need to connect here, wouldn't it? I would need to connect it here. And then anything that is there attached to the ceiling, theoretically, would be brought over to this side. There's a step that I'm missing. There is a step that I'm overlooking here. And I might need to come back to this one. Because there is something that I am not seeing, or not, it may still be, you know, there may still be some lessons from grav shifting that we didn't fully internalize from the first area. This switch changes the direction, right? Or changes the direction. It changes the position of that gravity flooring, which is still out of line of sight of this force field. So it's not like we could like put the connector up here and then creatively activate that force field at some point. Why does it need, why do we need this switch? That is maybe the question we should be asking, is why is this switch here? Why do I need to reposition this shifter or the gravity surface? What's the point of that? How does that help? How does that help me? Let's say we point this here. I guess I put that on the ground. But it has line of, it should have line of sight no matter what, so it should be fine. And then that, it stays with the flooring as it moves, which is what I would expect. Let's go up here. I don't even know if I've been up here. Maybe I need to go up here and take a look. What do I see from here that could potentially be of use? Like at this point, it feels like you need to be able to switch the grav shifter to point at this flooring, but I can't do that. I think I might have figured something out. Maybe. We need to test it, because I'm not sure I'm at the right height. My idea here is to change. Let's go up the flooring here and point this at as low as we can position it on, as low as we can position the beam on the gravity surface. Because I'm wondering, could I actually it does, the fan does go high enough to reach this, doesn't it? I think maybe this is what's going on here. Ooh. Wait a second. It's just there. I don't have to reposition it at all. I thought I had to do something funky, like catching the beam as it's sweeping across, but all I need to do is reposition the beam. All I need to do is reposition it here. I can just ride. This is how I get the connector out. That's what I was missing. I was assuming that this connector was stuck in here. It's not, because we can grav shift it out. I just need to ride this fan up while this beam is actually intersecting with where the fan goes. Let's reestablish our connection. Because we need to make a slight shift to the grav shifter. Give me this. That's all it is. Oh my gosh. I'm glad we looked around, because sometimes that's what you just need. You need a change in perspective. Gosh, it is hard to get the right perspective on this here, because I want to see where it goes in relation to the fan, but I have to point my field of vision to where I'm actually pointing at. This is a bit awkward. Oh, I don't like this. Can I do this from down here? I think maybe I can. Yeah, I can do it from down here. Less awkward. That should work. That should do the trick. Yay. Okay, connector outside. Now we should be good to go. Because it might still be a little tricky. We want to reposition our grav shifter so that it is beaming up. And I think, like, we still need to be able to activate this force field over here, right? Oh, but I don't have to be picky about this. I don't think. Let's see. I'm slowly but surely, hopefully, getting up to speed on this grav shifter mechanic, because it really plays into my overcomplication, my desire and instinct to overcomplicate. Because I like thinking several steps ahead, but you really got to be careful about doing that, because you don't often need as many steps in your mind. At least I don't. I often add too many steps as I'm thinking through the process. Let's see what we do here. We keep the connections and just put this up here, don't we? Because now it has line of sight. This just changes position a little bit, but that's no big deal. That lets us get behind here. Right? And then we should have, once we're up on this gravity surface, we should have line of sight of both. We have line of sight to the emitter, and we have line of sight to the receiver. We got this. Deep breath, exhale. But I think we finally got it, because now I just need to point at this side, and it shows you, it gives you a an indication when you are actually bringing over the connector. But I need to now just adjust the connections so that this is in the mix, but I think we got it. Oh my gosh, that was fun. The lost puzzles in this area have been really good. Very clever, challenging. In general, the lost puzzles have been the most challenging, and that one was definitely no exception. Really enjoy it. It just occurred to me as I was about to leave the puzzle, the lost puzzle here, do I have line of sight to the Pandora monument? It looks like I don't. Okay, they've specifically positioned this down kind of in its own little gully, and it looks like we can't actually get line of sight from here because the Pandora monument is, yeah, way over there. So not this puzzle. There is a very suspicious palm tree that is out here all on its own. Are we going to find some coconuts? What do we got here? Just a palm tree? Hello? Can I whack the palm tree here? Cannot whack the palm tree or climb it. What is the deal with this? Why are you out here? All right, here is the entrance to Puzzle 4. Let's give a look at Control. Easy name. Simple name. Simple puzzle. We have a connector. And it looks like we have a rotating platform, which we don't have control over as of yet. We can get access to blue and then shoot that here. I think that's the only thing that we can do to start. So we lower this force field. And now... Ah, okay, we rotate the platform, it looks like, with red. And we have our second connector. Here's the progress wheel. We've got a blue receiver and also a pressure plate powering the two force fields on the way to the goal. And there's our red source. So, a few things going on here. I'm guessing this turns the platform, right? It turns the platform, and it turns it slowly enough. Slowly enough to do what? I'm not sure. But it's something to note that it does not turn nearly as fast as the other rotating platform way back earlier in the game that was powered by a red receiver. Now, how do we take advantage of this? I think I see what was happening. So that... Oh, I'm also noticing that this is a driller wall. And we do have a driller behind here, don't we? Okay, we have... This force field is powered by... Actually, how is this force field powered? Was it also deactivated when we hit this with red? Okay, it not only turns the platform, but it powers down this force field. It looks like what we want to do is we want to have this. What do we want to have? I thought we wanted to have this connector be hooked into red as well, but I don't think that's going to work. I might be making it overcomplicated. When we power up this red receiver, it rotates this platform, which does block the line of sight to this blue receiver because this driller wall gets in the way. But ultimately, we want to shoot red over here. We don't quite have line of sight of this red receiver all the way over behind here. It's just, well, it's blocked right now, but it would not be blocked if we were to... Is it possible for us to do this? Now, the blue beam is going to be in the way. But I'm wondering if this would be a thing. It looks like... No, it rotates, right? So it deactivates as soon as the red moves. The red receiver moves with the rotating platform, and it's deactivated. Okay, I don't think I need to get... Probably don't have to get this fancy. The puzzle blocking us from doing this almost certainly suggests that. But what do I want to do? We got to start thinking in terms of these rotating platforms, which is going to change where my line of sight is. If I leave this here, if I just do this, This is actually creating kind of a rotating situation. It's on a rotating platform. But what I'm saying is there is a cycle here where a certain force field is active at one time and another force field is active at another time, and that is just kind of in an endless repeating thing. It's not an either-or situation like we have in so many circumstances. This actually allows me to kind of walk through different force fields at will. The main one being that I can get through here. I can get through this force field. Maybe I could even get through here. You know, like this rotating platform lets me actually just go through this way. So I have access to both sides of the puzzle in a way that I often would not if I didn't have a rotating platform. Okay. Now, what that lets me do is it lets me come over here and now reapportion this connector, which lets me, I think, permanently, well, for the moment, permanently stop the rotation, because it gets us that the rotation goes 90 degrees counterclockwise and it stops there. And now we have a situation where I can grab the driller. We can grab the driller because that force field is down. So now I have the ability to drill a hole in this wall. Any other driller walls? I think that's the only one. It's just the one here on the rotating platform. So now we want to get something to this pressure plate, and we want to activate, we want to send blue to this final force field. Blue, as we saw before, is behind this force field. We want this platform, the rotating platform, I think we want it to be here. Well, I say that. Does that need to be true? Maybe it does. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I have two connectors and I have a driller. I have two connectors. I could actually take this connector and put it somewhere else if I wanted to. I also need to remember something. Another thing here, we're dealing with a rotating platform. So if I made, let's say that I had a situation here where we're gonna keep the connections and add in the red emitter. Oh shit, I need to, it's okay though, because that red connector is still over there. It's gonna bring this beam, it's gonna bring the rotating platform back, even if I were to lose line of sight of it from this angle. Now, this connector is not necessary, at least for this state. For this board state, I just need puzzle state, whatever language you want to use. The point that I was trying to make is I can pick up this connector and I can quickly run here to get through to the other side of the puzzle, right? And if that is the case, I don't actually need that active anymore. I don't need to be pointing to that connector. Let me just take that out of here because that beam might screw me up. So let's temporarily put this back to keep this sustained. And I'm going to keep the connections, but I'm going to deactivate or deselect this one. And we're just going to put this back. Okay. So once again, this connector is free, which lets me bring it back over into this position. Which is not quite good enough. See, part of the problem here is that the blue at the very end, like, theoretically, we could just take the the driller, we could take that over here and just use that as a paperweight. Maybe we do eventually use it just as a paperweight. Oh, we could actually not just have it as a paperweight, we could have it creating a hole here. In order to get access to blue, we need something to be on this pressure plate, presumably a connector. Doesn't have to be a connector. And maybe it shouldn't be a connector. Maybe, in fact... No, this pressure plate also doesn't have line of sight. I don't think this pressure plate has line of sight of the blue receiver. If I activate the pressure plate with a connector, it won't be able to connect here. So it probably makes more sense for the driller to be here. Okay, I'm maybe getting a little bit lost from what... I had a train of thought where I was thinking toward the end goal. What the wind condition looks like. We have to get a blue beam here. We don't have line of sight to either this pressure plate or this door or this force field opening, right? When we're here at the blue receiver, the only thing that makes sense is to bring the blue beam through the driller hole, right? Is that true? Because doesn't that require 2 connectors? I think I've got it. What we do here, we reestablish this here momentarily, and we back this guy up to here. It's this connector, the one that sustains the red circuit, that acts as our pressure plate activator, and then we only need the one connector to go to blue because it doesn't interfere. I think that's where I was getting overcomplicated as I was trying to... Well, I could have done it. I could have activated this force field as well, but it's unnecessary. All you need to do is pay no attention to the visual clipping. The puzzle still works, and that's all that matters because we have a win. GG's. It looks like we might have the lost lab over in this direction. Yeah, oh boy. Whoa. Whoa, the entire thing just completely collapsed. Like, talk about a cave-in. My goodness. I don't know if this whole thing... I guess maybe there was a path leading down here. There was already this little mini canyon. This is crazy, though. What do we have? Oh my god, look at the rocks floating around. We've seen crazier stuff on this island.
Things going on around here.
I'm with you, Melville. We've seen a lot of strange things on this island, but just add another one to the list here. What in the hell? Yo, the rocks are not just floating. They're like disappearing into thin air. Are they leaving the holodeck? This is crazy. But I repeat myself. I've been saying it the entire time. This lab is completely fucked. There is nothing much to find here other than everything is just floating all over the place. Just some absolute nonsense that they've been getting up to here. Okay, we've got an overload coming. But first, let's check out error 2629. Look at this. This is another beautiful piece of art, but this time we're finding it in one of the lab terminals. Author John Martin. Error. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the first day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, because that Tyrus hath said against Jerusalem, Aha, she is broken. That was the gates of the people. That's a weird sentence. She is turned unto me. I shall be replenished. Now she is laid waste. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O Tyrus, and will cause many nations to come up against thee, and the sea causeth his waves to come up. And they shall destroy the walls of Tyrus, and break down her towers. I will also scrape her dust from her, and make her like the top of a rock. It shall be a place for the spreading of nets in the midst of the sea, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord God. And it shall become a spoil to the nations, and her daughters, which are in the field, shall be slain by the sword, and they shall know that I am the Lord. This definitely feels like something that could come straight out of the Bible, but author John Martin, Tyrus, I don't recognize that as a biblical name. It just has that very King James-esque speak This is a really interesting painting, though. It's hard to tell exactly what it's depicting, what city this is supposed to be, but you've got like, is this lightning shooting across the sky? It's very cool. That's just a cool piece of art. What else do we have here? Faith, author error. Perhaps faith is neither choice nor submission. Perhaps faith is a demand. For our pain to have meaning, for the stories of the world to rhyme, for a world designed by a loving hand. Perhaps I will believe with defiance in the forgiveness of all sins, in the kingdom of God on earth, and even the resurrection of the dead. I will believe with clenched fists and gritted teeth, and prayers that refuse to be gentle. We have another author here who has deemed punctuation optional, but I suppose when it's poetry, there's a little more acceptability to it. And let's check out the other one here, Noema Project 10, Trial 5358, unauthorized trial at secondary site, catastrophic failure. She's gone. She's gone. Are we talking about Miranda? Oh boy. That possibility just occurred to me here because we're in the middle of a lab where shit has gone wrong. The thing has collapsed in on itself. She's gone. Oh boy. I hope nothing has happened to Miranda. I'm all of a sudden a little bit worried. Let's check out the Noema Network schematic. Maybe that'll fill us in a little bit more here as we prepare for overload once again.
It's over. We failed. Everything we thought we were doing. It's all ashes now.
I don't think you really believe that.
She's gone, Cornelius. She's gone because I failed her. She's gone because the machine that I built killed her. She was perfect. And now, she's nothing.
I know you don't want to hear this. I know you want her to be perfect, to be blameless. But you didn't kill her, Athena. She killed herself. She killed herself because she was reckless, because she was naive, and frankly, because she was a little arrogant, too.
She was reckless because I filled her head with dreams. Dreams of the future, of a better world. A world that nobody wants.
No, it's not the dreams that killed her. It's that we brought her here. It's that we tried to build all this outside the city. We raised her without people, without society. The wilderness is for prophets, Athena, not for children. We should have stayed, fought for our ideas.
It's too late now. It's too late.
Whoa. Holy shit. Holy shit. We're not done with the game. Let's see if the team has anything to say about this. I'm gonna stay in place here for just a moment because I don't want any other dialogue to activate just yet. I have to take a moment to try and process. That's a huge revelation. We're not done with the game yet. So something tells me that Miranda is really not gone. We're dealing with a lot of stuff here that is completely outside of our understanding of, you know, the actual real world. So who knows if she's been taken to some other dimension or somewhere she's existing still and we're just not able to perceive it. But just the fact that Athena and Cornelius believe she's gone, that they believe that she is dead. This is the first time that we have experienced this sort of a thing. We've heard them tell stories about past accidents, past things like New Alexandria, where robots have died, but this is the first time that we are having this happen to us in the game, in the events surrounding the game. We've never met Miranda, but we sort of feel like we know her because we've seen so many, well, we've heard so many audio logs and we've seen these overloads and data streams. Holy shit, that is a lot to process. Let's see if the team has anything to add here as we head out. Okay, so it looks like Yakut is here, and he is anguished over what is going on. I do want to take just a quick moment, though, to note something else, a detail that's not super important right now, but I had not noticed it before. Athena's, when you look at her closely there in the data stream, she actually does look like one of the robots or how she looked in the original game. I hadn't seen this before, but obviously, you know, the Talos 2 robots like 1K, like Yakut, everybody that we've seen in New Jerusalem has a very updated look. The faces are so much more realistic. But when you look at Athena there, especially compared to Cornelius in that purplish silhouette data stream look, Cornelius still looks very much like one of us, like the very futuristic face. The feet have like actual, you know, 5 toes. But Athena's model looks like it did in Talos 1. It looks like the same model, the same robot that walked out of the dam, holding Milton. Her feet are kind of a little different. They have like this weird, almost look like dinosaur feet or something. Like, I wonder why that is. It's just a small detail. It may not be very important, but I do wonder about it. Something I noticed. Okay, let's talk with Yakut.
They lost their daughter. Right here in this ruin. Cornelius and Athena lost their daughter. Miranda's dead. So even the founder doesn't have perfect control over this technology. Even the founder makes mistakes. Byron was right in a way. We turned the founder into something she never was. She was never perfect. She was never infallible. No one is. I understand why Byron saw so much hope in this technology. He wanted us to be better, to grow. But what if it all goes wrong? If even the founder couldn't get it right, what hope do we have?
It certainly feels like a enormous wake-up call for even the most optimistic outlook in making use of this technology and whatever good that can be done. Thinking about people like Atal wanting to like make everything better for every life form in the universe. This technology feels like we really don't understand it, and if you're not careful, the worst of Alcatraz's warnings are going to come true. So I think it's correct to be concerned about the risks, but we also need to know more. The pursuit of knowledge still needs to have its place at the forefront of our mission.
I'm glad you see the risks too. And I agree, we can't just run away from this. But once we get Byron out, we should think about finding a way of turning the whole thing off. Let this place be a tomb for Miranda, and not the rest of us too.
We'll see about all that. The way that they are, you know, the revelation
Thanks
of...
for your help, 1K. The elevator should be working now. And Yakut, I'm sorry about Miranda. I know you're looking forward to meeting her.
I'm sorry about Miranda as well, but I am keeping sight of the possibility that she's really not gone. We need to be mindful of that as we move forward here. I certainly hope she's not gone, because I'm hoping to meet the entire family. Oh, I see. I think I get it now. This is what Melville was talking about. There's another anti-grav elevator, not just the one that takes you up to the tower like normal, but there is one here that takes us down to the rest of the puzzles, and that's what I think she was talking about activating. So let's head down here, and I hope Miranda's alive. I don't want that to be a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want that to overshadow the rest of the game. For now, we will move on and try to bridge the gap here in Puzzle 5. My mind is still very much... There's a lot to think about. That is one of the more significant, maybe the most significant twist in the story so far. So it might take me a moment here to get back fully into puzzle mode. We do have a connector though, and there's our red source, which I didn't even see at first. There is a little moat down here. We're kind of within the big moat of the castle here, the tower. And now we have a mini moat, which we can get out of with a ladder. What do we want to do here? Eventually we need 2 things to lower this force field to get us to the end. In the meantime, we can activate this, Is this a... Actually, how do we activate this? Because I can't take this out. And the bars are blocking my line of sight. Unless I have a spot right here. Okay, nope. Just a little bit this way. There we go. I thought this would... It looked like it was going to be a platform that moved. It just barely blocks the beam there, huh? Okay. I mean, that might be what we want. Okay. They didn't have any force fields blocking us from kind of running onto a platform in the middle of it moving, which is what they've done in a lot of the other puzzles. I don't know if I was supposed to do that. The idea just sort of came to me. But that does allow us now to open this up and get a second connector. And now... I mean, are we there? Are we home free? No, because that's in the way. Except we can maybe get around this by positioning two... I think we just positioned these two here. That's what they want us to do. Well, I need to put this one further over. Put them at the very edges, which allows me to transfer over control to the other one. Okay, that's kind of fun. That one just very much fell into place for me. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I did it the way that you're supposed to, but it works. And that's, you just win your battles, solve your puzzles at any cost, right? In a puzzle game, it does feel more rewarding when you can find the intended solution. But I don't know how else we would have done that there. So that feels like a totally reasonable solution to me. They had this area down here. I don't know why there was a moat that needed to exist. I guess it's here in case you fall in. In case you run and you don't get it first try like we managed to do. Trying to run to the platform and then you fall in the moat. You gotta have the ladder to get out. Okay, let's quickly check our interface content here. We're all going to die. Look at what happened. Oh, the all caps social media post here. Look at what happened to Miranda, the founder's own daughter. The mega structure is going to kill us all. Get a grip. This is absurd and also disrespectful to Miranda and her parents. Agreed. Who cares? She's dead. They're probably dead too. We're all dead. If that thing blows up, it could collapse the whole world into a singularity. You really should calm down, Fred. There's a legitimate point buried in what you're saying, but panicking isn't going to help anyone. Labistros. It is quite frightening, though. The images we saw of the lab, it's like the laws of physics themselves have been damaged. None of you understand. We have to listen to Pandora or we will burn. Already we're deifying another entity here just because we're panicked and don't fully understand things. Helga. Fred, why don't you come by my shop for a chat? I have something that could help with all your caps. Helga will really get you set as long as you have the credits. Thank you, Helga. Closing this thread now. So glad we had this social media post to brighten our day. Okay, we've got a terminal nearby, but I also happened to notice that there is a switch over here. And I think I had seen, but I don't know if we've made note of yet, the fact that there is a Sphinx monument here, which I was thinking of looking at and then I forgot to. So I'm guessing that this switch is probably related to that. So it looks like we can't turn the switch off, so it's probably something having to do with the Sphinx. We'll take a look at the Sphinx monument when I remember to get back up to the top. For now, we'll check out the palm reader. We've got Extinction, author unknown from selective archive documents. The dodo, extinct because of Homo sapiens. Stellar's sea cow, extinct because of Homo sapiens. The Labrador duck, the Rocky Mountain locust, the thylacine, the deepwater cisco, the golden toad, the northern white rhinoceros, the splendid poison frog, the Amur leopard, literally every last orangutan, extinct because of Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, what do you think will happen to them? It's time for this madness to end. Cornelius, a shameful list, and yet we are the only species that would ever make such a list and feel bad about it. Miranda, because extinction is normal in nature, a common side effect of evolution. Cornelius, exactly. What I want you to think about is this. Is natural extinction less tragic? Should we be less opposed to it? Where's the difference, if there is one at all? If there is one train of thought or one philosophical angle that I really find most interesting in this game, it is, and maybe this was even something in the first game, I don't remember all of the readings from the terminals, but this idea that challenges so much of like the mainstream narrative of the fact that whatever we do, whatever human beings do, if it causes some other species to go extinct or anything like that, it alters the Earth in some perceived negative way. Is that automatically bad? Maybe it is. I don't know for sure. But I think it's very important to stop and consider the possibility that maybe it's not. And we've got another Trevor audio log. The last one was definitely starting to make me feel a little bit sad for Trevor, because he is in that circumstance that all of the other humans would have been in, not knowing, feeling very anxious about the end days and what it would be like to actually. Can you imagine being in that situation where you know the end is coming? I can only. It's not a pleasant thought. Hopefully Trevor has a little bit more optimism this time.
Man, this sucks.
Nope.
It's one thing hearing about the symptoms. It is another totally to experience.
Poor Trevor.
I feel like an insect trapped in resin, slowly congealing. I can keep working for a while, though. There's still a bunch of critical tasks. I don't know what I'll do when I'm done. A lot of people have gone home, but Alexandra's still here. I don't think she's left even once, not even when her best friend died. We chatted a bit yesterday. She likes peanut ice cream. Not pistachio. Peanut. Well, at least we can agree that strawberry is an abomination.
Strawberry ice cream? I can kind of agree with that. But I'm not sure about peanut ice cream. I'm a pretty big fan of peanut butter. Peanut ice cream, though? I'll have to think about that one. What I will think about definitely, though, is how to deal with puzzle 6, Displacement. We have an inverter, and we have a force field that moves a... Look. Thought I was going to get run over there for a second. It's like the trash compactor getting ready to squish us into place. Okay. So, we've got a red emitter, and we've got a blue receiver that powers... Maybe it also powers this. Maybe you have the pressure plate as well as the blue receiver that both pressure this sliding part of the puzzle. This ladder here takes us where? Over here, where we have a blue-powered force field and an accumulator. Okay, this is interesting. So this whole platform slides right along. And you could maybe... No, it's too fast. Okay, it is the same speed as us running, so we're not able to like run and catch up to it. I don't know if we would want to do that. We can just, well, we could climb the ladder over is what I was going to say, but it might be useful to bring a piece of equipment in through there. But we can't do that anyways, so let's not worry about it. What we do have is we have an inverter. Eventually, we want to get to the goal here, and that's powered by blue. I think we only have a red source. There's no organic, there's no natural blue emitter. We can create blue either with an inverter, or we could invert red and then accumulate blue. So we have those two options. Now, we can't shoot through here, but what we could do is we could place the inverter here and then go like this. Almost didn't stay on the pressure plate long enough. So now this is in place, and now we could grab the inverter from here. So now we have the inverter over on this side, and we can go ahead and get access to the accumulator. Now we can accumulate blue and red. I mean, don't we want to accumulate blue? I'm blocking the red beam without accumulating it. That's cool. That's cool, I guess. So now I want to bring... Oh, okay. Wait, I can fix this. I can fix this. I need to reestablish the connection that I had with the inverter. I don't need it to be connected to this anymore, but it also doesn't matter. What I want to do is I want to reestablish its connection here to that blue connector because I need this to stay open once I walk off of the pressure plate. Because now I think it's just as simple as taking the accumulator and getting to the goal. Okay, that one, the last two have felt very straightforward, but maybe we are finally getting used to all the moving equipment, all the parts of the puzzles that are on tracks.
Byron is a rare blessing. Someone who listens to you, who disagrees, but still appreciates your thoughts. The more we explore this island, the more convinced I become that he was wrong. And the megastructure is a threat to all of us. But without people like him, I'm not sure New Jerusalem is worth saving.
So we've got puzzle 7 over here, but I think I did also see another palm reader. Just want to grab that real quick and check out another Lithrosir audio log.
There is a kind of peace here in the desert. A perfect silence. This is a dead place. More dead than almost anywhere else on Earth. If the ground could have a personality, it would be malevolent. But as I said before, all this in some sense does not exist at all. It does not hate us. It is simply the opposite of everything that life requires. When you sit in the dunes and you hear only the wind and nothing else at all, and all the complexities of civilization fade away, you truly understand that spiritual peace is a great evil, a kind of shallow banality that we must always strive against. It is spiritual excitement and enthusiasm which sustain our humanity. Spiritual peace is a vile and cowardly surrender to oblivion.
And on to puzzle 7. Let's check out above. This one looks cool. I saw a little bit of this from the outside. There's a red emitter up here. I didn't even see that it was moving around on a platform. I just saw it was in like a weird little fenced-in enclosure. But we've got a couple different moving platforms that are just kind of working on their own this time. No activation needed. We have a fan to get up to them. What else is down here? Anything at all? We can actually go back in here. This is kind of interesting. I don't know. This is probably not relevant to the puzzle, but it's always... Well, it's different. That's the most I can say about it. It's just a little pool of water in the back, but it's different when you have these little sections of puzzle that are unused. Okay. We have an inverter. And we have the ability, once again, to elevate ourselves. So we can really... Oh, we can get up here to a driller. Gotcha. I was wondering where we were going with this fan. It's not just a cool viewpoint on its own. It actually gets you up to another piece of equipment. So they're bringing in the driller here. I have not yet seen a driller wall. But what I think oh, okay. I thought there's a set of bars here that is moving down now. I thought it at first was some other elevator that was like behind this other ledge, but it's just acting as essentially a force field. Here's the other part of it. So it's doing basically what we had before with the force fields. It's just blocking off the side that doesn't have the platform. When the platform is on one side, the fence lowers, and when it goes away, it raises. Okay. Where the hell is there a driller wall? There's a platform over here, or at least it looks like a platform. Maybe it's not. This one is a... a very unusual layout. I really wish puzzles had more verticality like this. I think some of the coolest puzzles so far have been the ones that just go all over the place in terms of verticality. I'm gonna guess that we can bring this down with us. Why don't we take this across? Let's just go over and look at this other side. Maybe the driller wall is over here. Because we really haven't looked at... There's a fan over here. Okay. Now, does the back of this little watery area still feels like it's just not... Why is that here? Why is that here? It's not even particularly interesting to look at. I thought at first that was blocked by a force field. We can get up here, though. Here's our driller wall. We finally found the driller wall. Is it just on that side? It looks like it. So there's one little driller wall right here, which we cannot crawl through. We could grav shift ourselves through it if we had that in this puzzle. We have a connector. Oh, that activates two things, actually. We've got a cable going to this force field and to this force field, but we need two things to bring this last force field down. We need a blue signal. So maybe that's what we're doing here ultimately, is we're trying to shoot a blue signal through this hole. Right? And the way we do that is with the inverter. And that's where this comes into play. I think I might need to take the inverter up here. I wonder if I need to take it up here. Oh, you know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing, okay, I don't think I had quite seen this yet, but the fencing on this red emitter, there is a gap from this level. There is a gap in the fencing. I thought you were gonna have to get all the way up to the last floor in terms of verticality, and that way you could like look down and grab the red emitter from there, but it looks like we can get it here, which means now maybe we still want to bring the... I might still need to bring the driller back. I think that's actually what we need to do. Let's bring the driller back, because I think we need that as a paperweight for this other fan. Well, I suppose we could bring the connector if we wanted to. Maybe what we do is we repurpose the driller here to be both paperweight and driller. Now we have a connector. I think this is the solution, or on the way to a solution, because either the connector or the inverter needs to be... Let's see if we can figure this out. I think maybe it doesn't matter. It might not matter which one is where, but I think whichever, well, no, it doesn't connect to red from here. This does not have line of sight of the red like I thought it would. Okay, let's not worry about that yet. Let's go back up here. And this should have line of sight of the red, right? At some point? Does it not have line of sight of red at any point? Wow, it doesn't. Okay. The only line of sight, I think that's what it is. The line of sight comes from being on this platform. I think you have to, okay, this is what you do. What we do is we connect the inverter. We have line of sight of the blue at the end. We put this here. Now we go back down. We take the connector. We just missed our ride, so we'll wait a moment here. But I think what we're doing is we're, not that. We want to get on here because this has line of sight. This is the spot where you see the emitter. And now, when we're on over here, we can set it up so that it eventually reaches... I guess it's just going to reach the inverter no matter what. And I think we're good. right? I think we're good. Okay. These last few puzzles have not felt nearly as challenging as, like, the lost puzzles.
Continue to be exactly the same.
Okay, that's the second time you've mentioned that, Melville. So we're planting the seed here for some reason. It's very important to make note of the fact that the particle clouds are, like, identical in nature. I don't know why that's supposed to be important, but Melville's making note of it, so we will as well. But definitely the lost puzzles have been the most challenging so far, and it really hasn't been close. That, I guess, is normally the case, but it feels like in this area in particular, they've been much more of a... There's been a much higher discrepancy between the lost puzzles and the normal numbered ones. Quickly checking if there's anything else on my compass. In this area, there is a question mark here, but I think that is pointing to the Sphinx monument, which we need to... I haven't gone close enough to identify it yet on the compass. So when we go back up to the top, that's what we'll check on. As for now, I think the only thing to do is to press on to Puzzle 8, Preliminary. And I think this is our last puzzle of the zone. So let's see if we can fill out this last solution. Okay, we can get red here, although I think that is going to turn this, isn't it? No, it's on a rotating platform, but it's not activated by the red beam, it's activated by these switches. So we have kind of this platform that we saw at the beginning. The first, was it the first puzzle or two? So we're in here with a connector. We have sight of the end goal, but I'm guessing that if we rotate this clockwise, there is a force field here. Okay, that's what's blocking us from getting to the goal. Interestingly, let's put this back the way we had it. So, okay. I thought for a second that might deactivate both force fields, but it's only this one, which means that this force field, which is the one that, actually, no, that's not true. This is the force field when I rotated it that was in the way. That's powered by red from the outside. This one is powered by blue from the inside. So we need to find a way to bring blue here. We have our blue source, and there is another connector out here that I had failed to notice. There's also, we have crows. I feel like that's we've probably seen or heard crows before, but that's the first time that my brain, my laser-focused tunnel vision brain finally actually noticed one, because it had to, like, caw right by my head. Okay, so there's a little area back here. They have a purple barrier which prevents us from taking in a connector directly, but we can rotate to it. We could rotate to it, but there's force fields. Both of these openings to the rotating platform are covered by force fields, which we would need to activate in some way. So and we don't, right now, I can't just shoot blue here because I would cross the streams. And I don't have a box to elevate my connectors. So let's keep rotating here and kind of just get the different perspectives. Oh, there are horizontal bars. Okay, I had also failed to register that. So there are horizontal bars here. Very important. What does that let us do? It means that from... We have the ability at this point to shoot blue inside. Okay. We also have the ability, if we had a connector over here, we could power the red force field from the outside, but this is blocked by a purple barrier. We can't just carry a connector from outside of the rotating platform. We can't bring one back here. Is there a way we could bring it through here? I have this connector. Well, if I rotate this once more, don't I have the ability to open blue like this? There we go. Okay. Okay, now I have that open to me. Which means I do have the ability now to open the force field on this side. Cool. And then... So I'm shooting blue through here. What I would like to do is I would like to, if I rotate this counterclockwise, the horizontal bars would be here, and they would have line of sight of the red. And then I would have the blue force field would be facing the progress wheel. But I wouldn't have... Let's just do that. This is one where you kind of just have to actually move the platform so you can see what's going on. I think what I want to do is I want to have one connector back here. I need to drop off a connector here. And then I have the ability to... There are some of these puzzles where there's a delay. Now, I might have screwed myself. Well, I probably didn't screw myself, but I probably didn't achieve exactly what I was... Well, maybe I did. Because what I was going for is I wanted to get the red force field over here activated. Now, the horizontal bars are still here, but can I not... I actually now have two connectors that I could have back in this little area, but I don't know if that helps me. Because ultimately, I need to get blue inside this rotating... How does this look exactly? If I rotate it counterclockwise, then we have access to red, but that doesn't help me because the red force field is powered from the outside, and I can't power it there when it's facing the progress wheel. What I really want to do is power blue. I want this, or a connector on this side to have blue, but even that doesn't really help me. Not yet. I might be trying to think too far ahead here. How do I simplify this? So we can go back to this angle. Actually, I don't know if we've done this angle yet. This is kind of new. I would like to get blue. Actually, can I go ahead and do this now? Now I have, okay, I do have a way back in to the rotating floor if I close the red door. Because the blue door is still open. I can go around, I can physically walk into the rotating platform, which is, here go the crows again. I don't know what's worse, the quantum deer are definitely worse. But the crows just appearing out of nowhere, kind of trying to give them a run for their money. Back to the puzzle. I actually don't want to connect to red. I want to connect to blue. Because that, I think, solves my problem. Because now what I can do... Let's go ahead and just remove whatever connection we had. But now I think we just rotate this twice. And I have the ability to have my horizontal bars can see blue, while, no, I still am not there. Fuck. Except I can go one more this way and then we're okay. So I didn't actually have to have blue all the way back here. I just needed to have blue out here. Somewhere through the horizontal bars, I knew we needed to be able to see blue and have the blue door pointing at the progress wheel. And crows be damned, we got the win. Great, great. So I think that just leaves us with both of the stars. So let's head back up the anti-grav elevator here and take a look at those. Question mark on my compass is pointing in this direction. Here is the Sphinx. Okay, I saw this earlier and I forgot to stop and take a look. Let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, I see an X. This feels like the one, I don't remember which level it was. It was one of the snowy levels, but there was one where there were 3 switches that we had to activate. One of them, I think we've already gotten, which is down in the moat. I might need to decipher the layout of the map here, but there's one that is hidden outside a puzzle on this side, and there's one outside a puzzle on this side. I want to say that we are here, and that this puzzle is like right over here. Is that correct? Let's check it out and see if on the opposite side of this, is there a switch hidden? See if my sense of direction is on point here. I'm not seeing a switch, but maybe it was tucked in here. Is that where I'm supposed to be looking? I might be looking at the wrong side. Oh, I think this puzzle that I'm looking at right now is actually this one. So I think this is where the Sphinx monument is. Watch me be wrong once again. Let's head this way. So it would be beyond the tram ride. This guy over here. Wait, did we even check this out? I don't think we actually looked at this. Is there an audio log or something up in here? I don't even remember taking a look at this structure. What are we... I'm not sure if I can get up into the middle. Oh, is there something down here? Oh, wait, this was the puzzle. No, oh, this is the Golden Gates. I see. Cool. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. We are not nearly as far off as we used to be. Whoa, look at this engraving in here. It's kind of reminiscent of the engraving that we saw in one of the living quarters. I think the first living quarters where we found Byron giving us the spooky stare down. So if this is the structure that's on our Sphinx engraving, then we would actually want to look at the opposite side here. It would be right over here. Doesn't look like it. I might have it wrong once again. Is it this guy? Was this the first puzzle that we did? This is puzzle 1, right? So if that's puzzle 1, maybe this is not showing us. Maybe that's the tram. And this is puzzle 1. So it would be over here. Watch me go through every single puzzle in the area before we finally find this damn switch. Ah, here we go. Okay, we found it. Finally, just got to get yourself oriented in the right direction. The big clue here is that this is the tram ride. I hadn't seen that little detail at first. So we want to keep heading around and check over on the far side of, was it puzzle 2? Head over in this direction and see if we can find that last switch. And I think I did explore. I sort of ran around this area looking for, right, that was the lost puzzle back out there. I was looking for artifacts before. Didn't find any washing machines. But maybe this time we can find a switch, which I was not looking for. There we go. It's not completely hidden behind the foliage here, but if you're not looking too closely, you might skip right over it. And sure enough, I did. Okay, that should be our Sphinx star. We have still the Pandora star, and this time we are shooting red in its direction. So now that we're back on this side, I had suspected that puzzle 3 might be how we generate... No, we checked puzzle 3 already. I was thinking puzzle 2, and I was waiting until we got back over on this side. Right, because with puzzle 2, we actually supplied blue to the tower, which we still don't know what that does. Can we possibly supply red as well all the way from this side? Because I think we had both. We've got red in here, and the red source is here. Does it have... this might be tricky because I'm not sure it actually has line of sight. No, they have I think very deliberately created all these walls to keep us from seeing, making our way, shooting a beam to Pandora. So the best we could do would be to like put red here. If I got my other, wasn't there a third connector? If I grab the third connector, well, I'm not even sure. If I was gonna put red X to make it accessible from here, like, I don't know, sometimes in the first game, and we've also seen it a little bit in this game, you have to like supply a beam through the purple gate that goes into one puzzle, and it connects out here somewhere else. I'm getting overcomplicated. I don't think that's what this is asking us to do. We just need to find one puzzle that has line of sight of Pandora and also has a red. Which one is that? Would it be puzzle 1 by any chance? Was there a red beam in puzzle 1? I feel like even if there is, the middle tower is going to block our view. Actually, we do kind of see right there. I think I can actually see the Pandora statue from here, if I'm seeing that correctly. Now, is there a red? There is a red in here. Is it possible that there is a vantage point? Boy, this would be really a tricky vantage point. It doesn't feel like these walls are positioned in a way. There's no way we can see Pandora from here, right? Like, it would be behind a tree. Like, this is not it. I don't think it's puzzle 1. The question is, where is that puzzle? It wouldn't be one of the puzzles in the moat, right? It wouldn't be one of the puzzles that's down below, because none of those would have line of sight, would they? It could also be... Another possibility is that there is like a piece of equipment somewhere that we haven't noticed, you know? We've now set that precedent in the last level where they just had an RGB converter sitting around. Is there ever a world where they would just have like a red source up in the tower that you shoot down to the Pandora monument? My gut tells me that the game is structured in a way where you don't have to go past the Tetromino Bridge in order to activate a star. I could be wrong. That could be a silly assumption. We'll grab the Sphinx star real quick, though.
If the answers of philosophy are true, why has no philosopher changed the world?
Looks like there is some additional dialogue from Yakut. Let's just go ahead and
1K, what's up?
get that while we've got him here. How you doing, Yakut? Just checking in, make sure you're okay.
I don't
Making
know.
sure.
Still feeling a bit shaken by Miranda's death.
Me too, if I'm being honest. Me too. Better focus on something else. We can't change what's happened. That's one approach, but I think it's also probably good to talk about it.
Thanks, 1K. Maybe in a while. I'm still processing.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that one, Yakut. I'm kind of processing myself. I'm also trying to process Pandora Star. So if we're standing up here, what puzzle makes the most sense? There is this lost puzzle back out here, but I think we determined that that one doesn't have line of sight, right? It's being blocked by the walls from puzzle 3. Puzzle 3, I think I had ruled it out because it didn't have any sources at all. There were no beams involved. It was just, there were some boxes and a teleporter. Did I already check puzzle 4 and I forgot it? Did we literally just check this a moment ago? I don't think we reviewed Puzzle 4. Let's look at this again, because maybe there is a vantage point here that I am forgetting about, but it doesn't feel like it. Unless it's over here. Can I see the Pandora? I wish it would show my compass when I'm in the puzzle. I don't know that I can see the Pandora statue from here. Feels like the walls are all positioned in just a convenient enough way so that I can't see the statue. It's really far over there. It's like in this direction. Yeah, it's over in this direction. Maybe? Let's grab a connector. These force fields are all open now, right? So I can take a connector. Let's see. Come on, Pandora. Come on, where are you at? Dang it. So this doesn't feel like it either. I wonder if we should take a look in the tower. I wonder if we should, because I'm getting the sense that maybe there are like some platforms here that might, I don't know, maybe you could get a red source and it's just designed specifically for that Pandora star. So, okay, we'll take a break from that for now and we'll go ahead and solve, we'll take care of the Tetromino Bridge. Like, the only other thing I could think to do would be to somehow go back down into the moat and check the vantage point from some of these puzzles, but it feels like there's no way that I would have an angle to get to that Pandora monument. So let's do the Tetromino Bridge and see, is there anything possibly in the tower? Like, this thing right above us here looks like it could have a lookout point. Well, but even that, would that have line of sight? Let's just go up and find out. Let's do the bridge here. I don't think there's any harm in doing that. So why don't we start with this one? Oh, wait. Oh, it's going out here. So what if we do this one to start? We almost need to like take the long road, it feels like, because we're actually really close to the next section here, but we have 4 pieces that we need to fill in. So it's almost like they want us to like veer off course before we angle back. So maybe we don't want to start with the 4-piece. We want to start with maybe this guy. And then we go... that might be going too far. Then again, maybe not. Maybe that's exactly... Nope. Okay, we're going too far, I think. Maybe even going too far with the square is what I was thinking of saying. What if we do this one? And now we do this guy. And now we angle this backward. The thing is, this one wants to... This 4-bar is a straight shot. These 4 bars are kind of a little bit awkward when you put them together. It feels like maybe you want to separate them. And it also feels like maybe we are finally ramping up the complexity of the Tetromino bridges here, which is good. What about this? Aha, there we go. There we go. Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive because the bridge is so close. It's the one time that you don't actually want to build directly to it. You have to waste some time taking the long route. The long road. How do we make that long road happen? Wow, this one is connected right here. That's funky. What happens if we do that? This one feels very unique. It feels like we haven't had a Tetromino Bridge quite like this one yet. And I kind of like it. Because now you're getting a very unintuitive set of connections that you're having to make. Very unintuitive compared to what you've done previously. This one is tricky. Let's go back to the start. Let's start with this way. I think I might have done that once. What about going like this? Like, I presume that we have to use them all, but maybe not. I don't think we're not meandering enough. We have to be like, maybe, like, is this going too far? That feels like it's going too far, meandering in that far backwards. Is that the case? Is that true? I think so. I don't think we can go that far off course. I could be wrong. Have we started with this one? I feel like I might have tried this already. I think I tried this one already, or maybe I didn't. There we go. Okay. All right. We're adding a little bit of complexity to the Tetromino Bridges, which I'm okay with. It has felt like one of the more lacking parts of the game, so making those a little more interesting, I'm all for.
Prometheus was bound for many years, his torment seemingly eternal, until one day, Zeus commanded his son, the great hero Heracles, to free the Titan from the rock. Why did Zeus relent?
Like I said before, I don't know the details of this story from Greek mythology, but I feel like even if I did, it's not one of these where there's like one right answer. So as per usual with the Sphinx, I'm going to rely on a bit of guesswork here, and we'll go with because he recognized that he had been wrong, but I'm really not sure.
If even Zeus himself, who observes the world from the heights of Olympus, is not infallible, then how may any mortal trust their own judgment?
I think you're talking about one of the fundamental quandaries of humanity, especially at least those of us who really try to think deeply about things and get as many perspectives as possible. You realize that there's a lot of uncertainty, and maybe sometimes you wish you were a little bit more like somebody like Thekla, who could just be so sure about things. But I think we do have to do the best we can with the information available to us.
So you must, but will it be enough?
The hell if I know.
A time of dreams is at hand, creature of clay. To save your friend, you must do as Heracles did. But what will follow, none can see.
We're gonna have to free Prometheus. Entering the megastructure and freeing Prometheus. Will that be our next step? Either way, it is laser time. Green laser.
Well, at least this part is consistent. The megastructure is opening again.
All right, everyone. Assemble at the VTOL as soon as possible. Melville, keep an eye on the energy readings, please.
I thought for a second that I found a secret ramp that was going to lead me somewhere. It looks like there is nothing else to find here in the tower. I was hopeful that maybe there would be something else to do here that would be related to the star. That would be pretty cool. Kind of have a deviation from the normal pattern. So, what are we going to do about this Pandora star? I'm a little bit stumped on it right now. And I'm also not sure. Maybe it is related in some way to what we did with the blue beam. When we shot the blue beam to this tower, we might need to investigate that a bit more. because I don't really understand what effect that had. So if I deactivate this blue beam, what does that do? What does that do? There's no audio cue that symbolizes or indicates that anything significant has changed. Is there another one of these connectors somewhere that I am missing? Or connectors, receivers. Like, is there another receiver? This is really puzzling me because I just don't know what effect this is having. And I can't help but think that it's related to the star in some way, but I don't know how. I don't know how the hell it is related. I guess we'll head back over to the Pandora monument and take a look from that vantage point. Because maybe it's possible there's a spot in the moat that I'm discounting. And it's just as simple as there's a puzzle in the moat that actually has line of sight of this. I was so laser focused on heading toward the Pandora monument that I almost ran by our artifact here. This looks like a bumper car. Yo, we found 10 ancient human artifacts. We are an archaeologist, apparently, at least according to my Steam achievements. Unknown vehicle. This odd device appears to be some form of transportation, but it seems hard to imagine its practical uses. Perhaps it was employed in some form of entertainment, such as a vehicular form of medieval jousting. You could say that. You could say that, I suppose. That's kind of cool that we managed to luckily run by there on our way to the Pandora monument. Now from this vantage point, it feels like we would not be able to see in the moat. However, I gotta remember that the Pandora receiver is, you know, much higher up. Yeah, can you scan this for me, Alcatraz, and figure out how to do this thing? Can you give me an answer here? Here, hand me that piece of equipment that you've got. I guess let's head back into the moat. So we might as well go in puzzle 5. I guess there's a red signal in here. Is it possible that puzzle 5? No, like the tower's in the way. I don't see how you would see the Pandora monument from here. Is there something on the tower that I'm failing to notice? Like a connector. There's the blue up here. Nothing happens if I shoot red at it. What the hell does this blue receiver do? It just feels like there's something I'm missing. Puzzle 8 is the only other one potentially that I could think of where we might have line of sight. But even if somehow you could see out of the moat, even if we were far back enough to angle at the receiver, you've got the rest of this tower that's in the way. That's the part that gets me. So it can't be the moat, right? It just can't be. So as much as I like having everything wrapped up in a nice neat bow and getting everything solved, I think we're gonna have to leave this Pandora star for now. I'm just not seeing what I need to see. I don't know what it is that I'm missing, but there is something that I haven't quite figured out yet. Maybe I'll replay through the level and take a closer look at each of these puzzles, because I have not scoured every single puzzle. I'm kind of ruling out that some of these moat puzzles, I don't know, maybe there's more to them than I realize. Is there like, maybe there's a connector around this moat somewhere that I'm missing? I don't know what it is, but we're gonna have to leave it for now. I will continue to ponder that mystery, perhaps do some exploring off camera. For now, we will wrap up this installment of Talos Principle 2, and we've had here today one of the more consequential episodes in terms of the story, because my goodness, Miranda passing away, I still feel like there's going to be more to the story. I feel like there is going to be something that happens here to where we find out that Miranda is not actually dead. I have to feel like that's where this is going. I don't know, what's the storytelling? There's a storytelling tool, it's called Deus Ex Machina, something like that, where we're living in the land of, you know, teleporters and cloning technology and particle clouds, who knows what can happen. And it feels like this would totally be within the realm of believability of Talos 2 for them to bring a character back from the dead, one that was believed to be dead. We'll see what happens. We are now ready to once again head inside the megastructure and free Prometheus in order to free Byron. We'll see what that entails. I can't wait to check it all out with you next time. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.